guys. Today I'm here to school you. I'm here to talk about my favorite topic, why I hate Black television. Hate. I'm just kidding, guys. No, please, I'm sorry. I don't hate Black television. I'm just so sick and tired as an actor and an audience member of watching the same narratives over and over again. Let me talk about my experience first as a Black actor, because that'll tie into this story even more. Auditioning for NYU, we're gonna take it all the way back. The first thing I did was look up Black monologues, Black plays for Black actors. Immediately, I shut myself into that box. This is what I did, okay? I'll be real with y'all. I did Fences. August Wilson playing a 30-year-old wife. You know, the one that's like, well, I'm tired, Joy. I've been sitting here too. I did that. I picked that as my monologue because it was written by a Black author and it was a Black woman playing it. I thought because my identity was similar to these two things, I had to do plays like this. So I didn't explore the Tennessee Williams, the Arthur Millers. I didn't explore any of that until I got to college. That was my identity. That was my strongest sense of self at the time, that I was Black and I was an actor. As an actor, you don't want to put yourself in any kind of box. You kind of want to be able to adjust to what roles that you're getting. Immediately having this mindset only was a disservice to me because I was immediately shutting myself off to many other kinds of works that I would come to find out, you know, resonated more with me. Playing like the awkward girl, playing the bubbly girl, or the overconfident, or, you know, silly, or just parts of my personality that could really shine in other characters. I wasn't discovering until much later because, you know, I thought that I could only play Black characters because I was Black and that was the only thing people were going to cast me for. When I say I hate Black TV, please take this lightly, because I am not talking about the media that is making changes, that's making differences. I'm not talking about Ava DuVernay's work. I'm not talking about Origin. I'm not talking about When They See Us. I'm not even talking about historical retellings where the characters have to be Black because that's the story that we're sharing. I'm talking about the stereotypes that I repeatedly see in not only Black media, but also mainstream stuff where they have a Black side character. I was watching All American, and I don't watch the show fully, so don't come at me, but I'm just sharing my opinion. My granddad loves that show. He's like glued to the TV. I have a video of him just like staring at the TV. He won't leave the TV alone. Granddad, the TV is not going anywhere.
What are you doing?
And you know, the story is about a football player and living in LA. I watched season 1 and I think they're on like season 6 or something now. And I sat down to watch it with my granddad because, you know, he's loving the show. I'm like, okay, let's get into it. I love to see Black people on TV. What are we watching? The first thing I see is a drive-by shooting. I'm like, isn't the show about football, like Homecoming? Every time I'm watching a show with Black people in it, I'm seeing the same like narrative. Like I'm seeing the dark-skinned male lead being aggressive or having issues with their father or just acting up. That's how I'll say it, acting up. I mean, I know that's a lot of like a reality for some people. Like they live a life where they're perceived that way and they do act that way and they don't have a problem with that. That's not the only audience that Black stories can cater to, and I think it's a disservice to only have one point of view. It kind of makes me question if Black shows are just created for Black audiences and no one else. I know that they're not, okay? Because I know that there's like such a thing called, you know, the white gaze, and we have our films like Medea and Tyler Perry. We have our films like that are catering towards a white audience that white audiences think are funny. Then we have our shows that are, I guess, just created for the Black community, but we don't have a show or a film that I've seen at least. And if there's some, drop them down in the comments because I would love to see it. We don't have a show with a Black lead that is just, ooh. Okay, I won't say we don't have because I just remembered one. There's a show called Everything Now that does this, but I haven't seen many TV shows, films that has a Black lead and is exploring universal themes that everyone else can relate to as well. Usually when I see a Black lead, there's topics of racism, prejudice, and that experience, especially American TV shows. But I'm saying what I want to see is just a show where the character is black and, you know, is going through their life, and the story is strong enough because that character development, that character arc is there. And it's not so much about you know, their identity and them being black or, you know, facing racism and prejudice, which I definitely get. Like, that's a part of the black experience in America, but there's so much more story to tell. Rarely do I see a black dark-skinned family, my bad, like, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but I'm talking about specifically people who are my shade and look like me. I don't see a black dark-skinned nuclear family that is at peace and loves each other and is not going through hell. And I know what you're gonna say, but it's television, but it's media, we need the drama. I just believe that like, there's a way to create like dramatic action and dramatic story that is outside of race. And here's what I mean. A film like Everything Everywhere All at Once that follows like a Chinese family, their culture is integrated throughout the story, but the story has a deeper meaning than just them being Chinese and them navigating that in America. That's what I want to see from black media. Not everyone wants to be reminded of that life. Not everyone wants to be reminded of their poverty or discrimination or their prejudice when they're watching a TV show. They don't. They want to watch it for purely entertainment. The stories need work. Obviously, we know that we need more original screenplays and original ideas. But I just feel like if this is the only narratives that we're seeing from black TV, one, it's coming off as one note, and two, the narrative is only perpetrating more and more prejudice. Like, people overseas are kind of watching that and forming their opinions of black community based off of that. And I'm not saying, oh, the people overseas, no, how dare they like, it's not about that. But it's like about being a black kid and seeing those views and knowing how people feel about you, because you pick up on it when you watch shows like that. I have a little cousin who's like 6 years old, and she gets mad when people call her black. She likes the idea of being brown. That's kind of sad, you know, that feeling of being unwanted, and you already knowing that at such a young age. When I was growing up, I never watched shows that someone that looked like me was in. It's like sad in one sense, but in another sense, I grew up being able to see so many pieces of me in people that look nothing like me. And I feel like that's a great advantage to have. And it's kind of why I have this mindset now. There's an awkward character. There's a character that is overly romantic or hopelessly romantic. I'm gonna see myself in them no matter what they look like, because I know I have parts of myself that resonate with that. I can consume any kind of media, Chinese, Bollywood, international films, whatever, and I'll still be able to be moved by that performance, be moved by that story, because the story for me is bigger and outside of identity. And I guess I just wish I saw that more in black stories and people that look like me. I wish I was able to resonate with that more. Also, let me talk to you about my favorite genre of film. It's coming of age. And when I look up coming of age films, the only thing I see is white protagonists. I see Booksmart, I see Lady Bird, which I love Lady Bird, and I resonate with it so much, especially the mother and daughter relationship. I literally have consumed so many coming of age films because that genre of film kind of draws the most out of me. Like, having a character, especially in adolescence, that's figuring out their life. Like, yeah, that's what I resonate with. That's what I want to see. And let me talk about universal themes. Universal themes are something that no matter what you look like and no matter who you are, you can resonate with. I'm gonna give a few examples, like maybe having a rough relationship with your mom is a universal theme. No matter what you look like, you may be able to relate to that. Or having a first crush, or being isolated at school, or being just straight up awkward, or making new friends, navigating new friendships, getting your driver's license for the first time. Like, literally, these simple things can make people feel so much whenever it's a black TV show or a black movie. The thing that they race towards is prejudice, being unwanted, in America, being isolated. And you know, I do get it. That is people's true experiences. They can write that from the heart because they experienced that. What I'm saying is there's more. They can talk about faith, growing up in a Black church, or maybe, you know, diverging from that. Like, I just think it's really a disservice to have this kind of one-note narrative. When I'm watching like TV shows and I'm seeing like the Black side character fall into stereotypes and tropes, or being comedic relief, or, you know, trying to edge on that kind of relatability, I'm tired of that too. I just want to see a Black lead, and maybe everybody else in the show is like white, Mexican, Indian. It doesn't matter. Literally, it doesn't matter. I'll give you an example. A show like Percy Jackson, where you have Annabeth. She's Black. She looks like me. And that has nothing to do with the story. I think that stuff like that is beautiful. Like, I think like casting the actors that are the essence of the character and that are able to tell that story authentically in that way, and then adding their culture later, it's such a beautiful way to do casting in the first place. And it really makes your story watchable, relatable, and just enjoyable. You know, the actor that got that role worked their butt off, and you know that they didn't get the role just because they looked the part, they looked beautiful, they looked like a model. They didn't get the role just because of that. They got it because they were the best person for that character. Definitely do think that Hollywood is changing. I think people are starting to notice that these kind of stories that tell the same narratives, they're not getting as much as attention or resonating with communities in ways that is marketable. I'm gonna talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once again because I love that film. That was a film that was so widely loved for its story and for the way that it resonated with everyone who watched it. Or not everyone, because I mean, the oldies, my grandparents, they were just confused. You gotta get through the chaos to see the universal message of that film, which is why I love it so much. And I think that we should definitely have more films like that. Films that have these themes and that resonate with people in that way are the ones that become popular, are the ones that create discourse, are the ones that Gen Z watches. Because trust, when Gen Z watches something and there creates discourse over it or discussion over it, it's on TikTok, it's blowing up, boom, it's free marketing. I want to see more stories that explore girlhood in a way that Barbie did. I want to see films like that where the lead is Indian or Black or Spanish, and yeah, their culture is ingrained into them. It's a part of who they are, but the story is deeper than their identity, deeper than their race, because the complexities of characters and people in general are so much more than identity. They're about struggles and then the way that characters overcome challenges. And I feel like it's really just such a lack to just have this recycling message. Oh, you are hated in America. Oh, we prejudice against you. Oh, you are hated because of the color of your skin. Oh, you are not good enough. I feel like that is the message that is repeatedly pumped out, whether it's intentional or not, that kids who look like me look and watch TV and see that message circling over and over again, and it creates this separation of what people think Black community, Black identity is, and who they actually are and who they want to be. Because not everybody is going to resonate with the story, especially if we're talking about class, because I can get into that later. But a middle class or upper middle class Black American is not having the same experiences as a lower class American. Maybe the reason that only Black audiences watch like Black TV or media is because do people like feel guilty or something? I don't know. I'm just thinking of that video.
My dad named me after my great aunt who was a slave.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Is that why like Black TV shows are only consumed by Black audiences? When you play off these like preconceived notions of characters, not only do you humanize them, but you make them lovable in a way. And I feel like that's especially done with Wayman, because we all thought he was like weak or a beta male, and then we came to love him because we got to see how his mindset works and how his, inner self really portrayed. Maybe not everyone agrees with me, but that's just the way I see the world as an actor and as a storyteller and someone who wants to change that narrative of only seeing Black families or Black people and characters in this light. I have hope for the future. I'm not here to tell you, oh, this is the only narrative that we'll ever see. I do have hope, and I do know of some new shows coming up, like for example, The Gates, which I think is airing on CBS, that follows a middle-class Black family and kind of gets into what it's like in the socialite position. I really am excited for that show, and I hope that it doesn't fall into tropes that are stereotypical, especially with the category of best casting. I think we are going to see a rise of stories that are not just skin deep. There was this line in Origin that has always stuck with me. When you dehumanize a group of people, then the individual cannot stand alone against that stereotype. But when you try to dehumanize a person, you'll slowly begin to see that those preconceived notions that you held for that person will start to peel away, because you can't dehumanize someone that's standing right in front of you unless you're dehumanizing their whole group. I know this topic is a little bit controversial and people might have different opinions of me. I welcome that. I'm willing to maybe talk about this again in the future and see if my views have changed. This is just how I feel as a 22-year-old Black actress. My aunt says change is always slow, but I don't think so in this day and age, okay? In the age of TikTok and social media, I think trends and changes can come quick. No matter what you look like, you can play whatever character that you want. And I'm not talking about, don't say no ignorant stuff like, oh, can a white person play Rosa Parks? No, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, say you have a book, like a dystopian series, like Insurgent or something. Because that story has nothing to do with Americans, their racial politics, and, you know, it's completely about character building, character world building, arc, stuff like that. Anybody can play that character, no matter if they're white, Black, Spanish, etc. And I think I'm starting to see that, especially with my auditions. I was in an acting class at NYU, having this teacher, and I'm just asking them, what play should I do? What monologues? What scenes? And the only thing they're recommending for me to do is August Wilson and Lauren Hansberry, Raisin in the Sun. I'm reading it, but I'm not really feeling that catharsis that I feel when I read a play that really strings on my heart chords. And so I kind of realized then and there, you know, that I was in a box. And I was like, what the hell, how did I get here? And I remember the first thing I did, it was called North of Providence, and it was about, you know, this brother and sister duo and their dad's dying, and, you know, this sister going to connect with her brother and then like trying to convince him to leave the house, trying to convince him to get off his ass. I was performing this character, her name is Carol, and I was like, wait, it unlocked something in my brain. I feel like this performance is so much more truthful because I'm not worried about, you know, how I'm being perceived racially. I'm just performing. Girl, the rest was history. I was doing Summer and Smoke, Eccentricities of a Nightingale. I didn't care what that character looked like. I was just like, if this character has something that I resonate with, or she's quirky, or she's weird, I'm doing it. Like, I don't care. I'm doing it. And I feel like I want to see that more reflected in film, especially from Black actors. There was also this thing. It was Issa Rae, and I think his name is Simu Liu. I might be butchering that, but him. There was like this joke that they made at the Oscars where they were like, we love white people roles. And like, it was a joke, obviously, but at the end of the day, it's not. Because we do, as Black performers and actors, we love roles where we can step outside of just our identity and play a story, a connection that is truthful. And I want to see more. I want to see more. I want to see more. I've talked so much. This topic is something that I love to discuss. But yeah, if you liked the video, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, DM, whatever. You know? Thank you. Bye.